Hello, everyone. It's Charlton, and this is just now breaking. It's thank you so much to Alex Wagner. I really appreciate it, man. You just showed this to me within the last 5 minutes, and immediately I was completely shocked. They New York Times obtained exclusive, surveillance footage inside the Mandalay Bay of Stephen Paddock in the final days before the October 1 shooting. It's I haven't even watched it all myself, so I just watched a little bit of it, and my jaw hit the floor. I watched another news report, but it is the New York Times that obtained this exclusive footage. When I went to a Las Vegas, local affiliate, they mentioned that the New York Times exclusive footage. So I'm going straight back to the 6-minute video. Let's just play it and watch it. I'll play it in its entirety. It's Paddock at various places throughout his visit. And again, I haven't seen it all, so here we go.
The surveillance footage is remarkable in its banality. It shows Stephen Paddock, the Las Vegas gunman, in the days before his mass shooting. He cuts a lonesome figure as he moves through the Mandalay Bay hotel, playing video poker for hours in the casino, buying snacks at a newsstand, watching a LeBron James interview in a restaurant, and at times chatting with hotel staff. But this picture of an ordinary gambler disguises a far more sinister intent. Through this previously unseen footage, we'll show how Paddock methodically planned his attack, and how, over 7 days, hotel staff unwittingly helped him to move bag after bag of weapons to his room. The videos, obtained exclusively by the New York Times from MGM Resorts, begin on Monday, September 25th. At the VIP counter, he checks into a suite on the 32nd floor and books an adjoining room, which he will check into 4 days later. He doesn't immediately bring in suitcases. Instead, he spends 2 hours in the hotel, going to his room and eating at a sushi restaurant downstairs. Just before 5 p.m., he drives his Chrysler Pacifica minivan to the valet area, where a bellman loads the luggage cart with 5 suitcases. Paddock asks to stay with his luggage, so the bellman brings him through the service elevators to his room, something hotel management say is not unusual. Paddock spends the next 4 hours in his room, and at 9:40 that night, he leaves the hotel, bringing 2 suitcases with him. He drives 1 hour to Mesquite, where he lived. Cell phone records show that he stays the night and spends most of Tuesday here. Around 8 p.m., Paddock returns to Las Vegas, but he stops at the Ogden, a downtown condominium complex. This is interesting for a few reasons. Paddock was also renting rooms here for the entire week. He checked in the previous Friday, when a music event called the Life is Beautiful Festival was being held in the surrounding streets. Internet records recovered by the police show that he searched for that festival's lineup and its expected attendance. This was similar to his research of the Mandalay and the Route 91 Harvest Festival, which he would later attack. So, the Ogden and the Life is Beautiful Festival could have been used for planning, or may even have been a target. Later Tuesday night, Paddock returns to the Mandalay, and a different bellman helps him to move 7 more suitcases to his suite. Again, he uses the service elevator. He tips the bellman, who had no way of knowing these cases were packed with guns and ammunition. He gambles for 8 hours until morning. Paddock was a regular at the Mandalay, and several casino hosts knew him. The videos show their interactions as being completely normal and in no way alarming. Remember, in 2 days, Paddock has brought 12 cases upstairs. He spends most of Wednesday in his room, and that evening repeats a similar pattern. He leaves the Mandalay, again carrying 2 suitcases. He stops at the Ogden and drives home to Mesquite. On Thursday, he buys a .308 bolt-action rifle from a gun store and visits a nearby gun range before driving back to the Mandalay. That night, he again uses the valet service and a bellman to carry a white container and 3 suitcases to his room. His arsenal of weapons is growing. Again, he gambles through the night. It's now Friday, and at 8 p.m. the Route 91 Harvest Festival will open in the fairgrounds across from the Mandalay. Paddock stays in his room until around 3 p.m. and uses his laptop while the suite is cleaned. He checks into the adjoining room, 134, using the name of his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley. He also tells cleaning staff to leave behind the food service cart. 2 days later, Paddock would use this and one other service cart to create a surveillance ring during his attack. Overnight, he makes a brief trip to Mesquite, arriving back at the Mandalay at 6 a.m. with 2 more suitcases. Soon after noon on Saturday, he places Do Not Disturb signs on both room doors. He declines housekeeping, he takes an elevator to the valet area and sits, waiting for his car. He carries 2 more bags to his room. He gambles some more, and that night he makes a final trip to Mesquite, returning to the Mandalay at 3 a.m. on Sunday morning. He gambles through the night in the high-limit slot area and returns to his room at 7:37 a.m. It's 12:16 p.m. when we see Paddock going back to the parking garage. The guests exiting the elevator have no idea that in 10 hours this unremarkable figure would commit the worst mass shooting in modern American history. He returns from his car, bringing 2 suitcases and a smaller bag inside. Since Monday, he has brought at least 21 cases, 2 smaller bags, a laptop bag, and a container to his room. This is the last time we see Paddock, arriving at the 32nd floor. Through the day, he opens, closes, and locks both rooms repeatedly. At 36 minutes after 9, he locks the deadbolt to room 135 for the last time. 4 minutes later, Jason Aldean, who is headlining the Route 91 festival, begins his act. Paddock then turns the deadbolt to room 134. At 10:05, his shooting rampage begins. In under 10 minutes, he would kill 58 people and injure over 700 before taking his own life. He had amassed 23 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. Almost 6 months since the attack, Paddock's motive remains unknown.
All right. It's pretty remarkable. Why this wasn't shown earlier is beyond me. They could have. I'd have to think that, MGM would have something to do with that. That's the only logical conclusion I could come to. It was him. It was Stephen Paddock, and I'm next certain it was him alone, and that there was nobody else in there, and he was just a complete madman, a psychotic, sadistic, sick human being that did that. I don't think there was somebody else in 134 that got out of there. I don't think Mary Lou Danley was involved. I think. And I know a lot of, females, and I'm not female, I can't speak for females, but I've sort of gotten females' perspective, and a lot believe that, she would know because, a spouse would know. But I don't believe she did know. And, I think she figured it out when it started happening and that he had finally completely lost it. But the fact that he wired money to her, that makes her look guilty. And that if she was actually involved, he would have never done that, because that actually almost implicates her and makes her look, it's like this obvious thing that makes her look guilty when in fact, and I don't think he was trying to make her look guilty. I just think she wasn't involved. And I don't think Jesus Campos, I think he's just some dude, he's just a security guard that happened upon that room at that time. He was just doing his job and he was wrong place, wrong time. And, there's other things to that, but I don't need to go into it. I think he's completely, he was just doing his job. I think so, man. I think that's it, dude. I really do not think there was somebody else in 134 that managed to get out of there. And there's just no way. Once this started, if you believe what they're telling us, and I don't necessarily believe all of it, but I do believe some. And this is, I mean, there's nobody else. If there was somebody else, why are the other parties avoiding the cameras, but he's not? Okay, you know, that's always been a problem for me. That would mean that those people, like, you know, went up to different rooms and came in and were much more covert and worried about being detected, but he's not worried about being detected. It was just him. There was nobody else. That's my opinion, man, and I think, I don't know. I mean, I've just seen this for the very first time, so, you know, just my gut reaction. You're getting it right there. And I believe this before I watched that, you know. I mean, I watched some of the other dudes. I like all the people making videos. I really do, about Vegas, and the most recent ones about the glass falling and stuff like that. But there's lots of things to explain to that, and that just is not definitive proof to me. It's just not. First off, we don't even know that it is in fact glass. We just don't. It very well could be, but it could be not, you know. You don't even see it until halfway down. It could be that it's facing. I don't want to get into that really, though. I mean, that's a whole other video, and I don't have definitive proof that it wasn't, but I'm not there. I don't think it's proof that it is, you know. It was Paddock, man. He's just a crazy, sick SOB. That's the only logical explanation. That's my explanation now. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much, Alex Wagner, for hooking me up there. I appreciate it, and later.